Welcome back on the VST channel. I have here at the top of the line the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, in the very right the Xiaomi 14 Pro with the latest Hyper OS, and in the center I have the Apple's iPhone 15 Pro Max. In this video I want to walk you through the customization options, Hyper OS, iOS, One UI 6, and then show you the animations, because on this channel we care about things like this. If you're here for the first time and you want to check camera comparison between this phone and that phone and this phone and that phone and all of three, make sure to subscribe, because a lot of good content is coming, specifically right now that I was able to acquire the Xiaomi 14 Pro, 8 Gen 3, Apple A17 Pro, and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Let's start. I'm using the very latest Xiaomi HyperOS version 1.0.18.0. On the iPhone 15 Pro Max, I'm using the latest iOS 17.1.1 and the latest One UI 6. The stable build October security patch, the version is BWJM. The first thing I'm going to start, I want to show you guys the always on display on all these three phones. And then I'm going to take you to the customization options on the lock screen. And I'm going to explain why. So this is here, the always on display on the Xiaomi 14 Pro, the always on display implementation on the Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max, and my always on display for the S23 Ultra. Now, how does the editing go? I need to enter on the lock screen, select here, and try to enter with my fingerprint. So now you can just see I have already the option to customize my lock screen. On the Apple iPhone, it works exactly the same way. I need to wake up the phone, click here, and now I can enter the lock screen customization. The same on the Samsung phone. I need to try to click somewhere and then authenticate myself, and now I get the option to edit the lock screen. I promise to tell you why that's important. Well, it is because a lot of people out there in the tech scene are claiming that Xiaomi is blatantly copying Apple. Specifically, while Apple introduced this kind of an always on display, which is a bit weird in terms of an implementation, because it doesn't really turn off the screen, but also because of the fact that you're going to see right now. And also, there are some things that you can do with the S23 Ultra that you have on the Apple, like just bringing the clock behind a wallpaper, which is technically not so easy on the Galaxy, but still can be achieved with the help of good lock modules. Now, this here is the all new personalized lock screen on the Xiaomi HyperOS. Swipe up to stitch between templates, swipe horizontally to view more. Okay, then we have some more. Customize your lock screen to make it truly yours. The way this works on the iPhone is the same, guys. We can go here and add a new wallpaper. We can just click also on the plus button to just choose an already existing wallpaper, and we can click the customize button. When I click the customize, I get the option to edit the lock screen and the home screen. What I have here on the Galaxy S23 Ultra is a bit more simplified. I'm very thrilled having the chance to play with the Hyper OS. People say that it's just a rebranded MIUI, but if you try to dive deep a bit, you're going to see that they change a lot of things beneath the surface. But okay, on the surface, yes, I can confirm it really looks and feels like a MIUI, but there are some nice, neat tricks. Lock screen here. Okay, guys, so let's see what they told us. If we just go and do like this, we have a classic view. Wow, we have the rhombus view. We have the magazine view, and the animation is just mind-blowing. This is one of the reasons I'm recording animations and user interface videos on 4K 60 FPS, guys, so that you can just experience the beautiful implementation of these vendors. Now, I'm just saying, by what I see, really like easily this thing wins. If I go back on the iPhone, guys, and I try to customize it, okay, let me just do like this, and I click a plus button, you can just see it's not so flawless like this, right? But let's try to create something from scratch. So let's just use one that is featured. I have the date here, then I have the clock beneath. You can of course try to play with this. You can change also fonts. So let me just change that one. You can play with the size, and you can do the same also for the date. You can also try to choose widgets, which widgets you want to have here on your home screen. So let's say right now I want to get the weather. Boom, we're going to get the weather information together with the date. Now, widgets implementation on the lock screen on the S23 Ultra is still possible. It doesn't look that great, right? But at the end of the day, you can do further customizations, not directly from here, but with using good lock. And now let's try to select something here that will make sense. So, okay, they also said we can go left, right. So if we go left, right, we have different color options. And that's really amazing. The way it works is just mind-blowing. Okay, same here. See how many default styles are there. And now the last one is live. Okay, live is, I guess, bit more lifestyle oriented. You know what, guys? Let me choose this one. I like this one, so I'm gonna click the customize button here and see what we can do. The first thing I see here is the date and also the day of the week, but I cannot do anything there. I can click the clock and I can click the font and try to customize the clock. Those are all the available options. I would say nice one. Oh, this one is very artistic. So the moment I do this, I can also click on the color and I can go and customize also the semicolons. That's nice. So maybe I can do this also for the clock. If I click here on the clock, I'm going to be able to do this as well. So let's just do like this and let's just press done here. And we are now back on the main editing screen. So I have the option to choose a wallpaper from all these nice wallpapers. Let me just try to select, for example, this one. So I'm going to choose this one. And then I have the option to zoom in or out on the wallpaper. Another option is me clicking here on the filter, and there are some indeed nice filters that you can apply on the background, and there's also called the matte effect or matte effect. Technically, Xiaomi is really leveling up their game, so this is what you can do here. Back on the iPhone, I showed you the widgets, I showed you the clock information. Here, guys, you can just add more widgets. So let's say I'm gonna go for the battery, so I have to remove it because it's there, but I can try to put another one. It's here. And guys, I have then the option to just cycle to this. So I have the moon option, I have the moon detail, I have Mars option, and I have Jupiter. The animations here are also mind-blowing. So let me just add that one. And I'm gonna set this as a wallpaper pair, which means I'm setting this not only on my lock screen, but also on my home screen. I'm gonna do the same here. I'm going to apply it. Okay, and right now it's gonna be applied on the Xiaomi 14 Pro. And now let's see what we can do on the S23. We have the option to choose the wallpaper. So let's just go and choose a nice wallpaper. I'm gonna hit, for example, this one here. Then click on the clock, guys. So in the One UI 6, you're not only able to resize the clock, but also move it around. And this is something that doesn't exist in One UI 5. Then let's go for something more advanced. Then I have the option to click here and customize what I want to see. So no option, nothing, only icons to my notifications, and then only details. And what I really like is the fact that I can play with the transparency. Now, let's say I want to add something else. Is this possible? If I hold my finger here, right, you're going to see I'm not able to add widgets. But technically, again, with the help of good luck and some modules, you can also add widgets on the lock screen. And here, guys, if I click on these icons, I can choose whatever I want to have, like D&D icon or camera, or let's say maybe flashlight. So this is as much as I can do on the S23 Ultra. And I'm going to press done. Changes apply to the lock screen. All right, and now, guys, I am going to just power off those phones. Always on display change on the HyperOS, and it looks very nice. That's the always on display on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's weird, as you can see, it really dims the screen. And this here is the always on display on my S23 Ultra. And I'm going to show you some animation. So what about going from the always on display to the lock screen? All right, this is it. This is it here on the iPhone. This thing with putting the clock behind the wallpapers is something that I really like. And this is the animation that we have on the S23 Ultra. Now pay attention, the moment this goes in and out, the animation here is not so smooth. But now let me unlock those phones and I'm going to guide you inside on the home screen and show you all the animations. Apps opening, apps closing, the recent menu, volume rockers, toggling on and off. And I really hope that you enjoy videos like this. And if you're here for the first time, please, guys, support the channel. This helps me greatly and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's continue. The first thing we notice here is how different and in the same time not so different all those home screens are. So we have some space on the HyperOS reserved for widgets. Of course, you can remove them. The same on the iPhone, and believe me, for iOS and Apple to just get here after so many years on Android doing this, it's still an achievement. And we have the same thing on my S23 Ultra. Down below we have the icons that I really use on my daily basis, and then here we have like a launcher. On the iPhone I can access my messages, some music, and the phone, and I can access all these apps here on my Galaxy, and the same exists on the Xiaomi HyperOS. If I scroll to the right, you're gonna see that all three phones have the horizontal scrolling. And again, with some good luck modules, you can implement also vertical scrolling, but this is not supported because Home app isn't really brought up to the One UI 6 version. Only some basic things work. On the iPhone, it's no brainer. You can just do this. I don't think you can hardly customize anything. And technically on the HyperOS, you can probably just use other launchers like Poco Launcher. I didn't really try this yet, but it's Android, right? So you should be able to modify this if you don't want to do so. Also, when I click here, I'm gonna get an option directly to go and modify my home setting. From here, I don't have the option to go and select a vertical view. When I click here on the S23 Ultra, I can go also on the settings on the home screen, change the home screen layout, the home screen, the apps grid, do a lot of things. And when I do the same on my iPhone, let me show you guys, if I just keep holding here, I get the menu to just delete some of the icons if I want, right? And I'm also technically able to just add some widgets, right? So apparently still Android, in this case One UI 6 and HyperOS, will give you more customization options like directly from the main screen. What happens if I go further to the right? If I go to the last screen of the iPhone, I'm gonna get this app library, which is technically something that I like and I don't like. I like it because it groups all my application, and I don't like it because it's organized in its own way, so I cannot just really want to create my own things like games and socials and whatsoever. If I do the same on my Xiaomi 14 Pro, I just get to nowhere, and the same kind of behavior will happen also on the Galaxy, right? So technically, if I swipe one more time, I'm gonna go back to my home screen, the same on all phones. And let me show you what happens if I go to the left on my S23 Ultra. It's a standard global phone, I get Google Now. Here, yeah, nothing. And it's a Chinese phone, guys, so potentially you'll not have Google Now so easily right now. And if I do like this on the iPhone, I'm gonna get this nice menu again with some widgets. And from here you can press again the plus sign and just add the widgets that you want. But let me focus your attention on something, guys. I am going to now hold it so that you can just see what happens when I move. And it's just so realistic. The moment all of these icons just move below the plus sign and the done, really is on a next level. And this is also to be seen here in the app library. Let me show you. I'm now in the app library. You see, the moment I do like this, app library is centered with all of my folders here. But the moment I just try to scroll down, the app library somehow goes on front and this goes below, and it looks very, very good. And I can tell you, really, like depth effect and animations are something on iOS. But HyperOS is very close. And let me tell you why. We're gonna get to this point when I'm opening apps and closing the apps. Now what I want to show you guys is what happens if I pull the finger like this, and boom, then we have this HyperOS control center. We do like this on the iPhone, and I have the iPhone control center, and I do one swipe on the One UI 6, and this is here the One UI 6 control center. Now, this thing, very separated, Wi-Fi and connectivity menus, all the toggles here, brightness bar, smart view. I like this. I don't like this, and I don't like this at all. Why? Because it's not so organized. It doesn't really fit well according to my ideas about the design. So we have buttons like this, we have button like this, so it's just not so uniform and consistent. And this here, guys, really is very similar to this. So I have to admit that apparently what Xiaomi are doing, and they did it also in MIUI, they had this new style of a control center. You were also able to put the old one. Here, I don't know if you can do this in the HyperOS, but this pretty much looks like this. Even just see the brightness bar and also the volume bar. It's probably like almost 1% one-to-one. Take a look one more time, okay? See how the animations pop up gradually with this nice zoom-in animation. And here on the HyperOS, then boom, you know, like at some point, boom, it's a very rapid animation, and I get directly all these icons. Technically, these two are very much similar, but I have to be honest, Apple did it first. Now let me just show what happens if I press some of the toggles. I'm gonna press here the airplane one, nicely animated. Here, right, no animation at all. And here, if I do this on the S23 Ultra, well, it's still animated. I'm now back on the home screen, and it's time to show the notifications. So if I do a swipe like this, I'm gonna get all my notifications. If I do a swipe from the right, I'm gonna get access to the quick panel. If I do a swipe on the left on the iPhone, I'm gonna get the menu with notifications, but not directly. I have to like swipe down and just drag them, but you can just see like we have this blur animation applied gradually. And if I do the same on the Galaxy, just swiping up will reveal the control center with my notifications. The major changes here are the grouping from the notifications. As you can just see, like for example, this is really how the iPhone grouped notifications from one and the same app. Okay, now I'm clearing them. And this is, for example, how One UI is grouping those, right? This is how it looks like. But again, I would say it's pretty much the similar. And now I'm gonna clear all so that you can just see what happens. Do I have a button to clear all? Yes, from here, I press clear. Everything went away, clear, now absolutely a blank screen. And this will give me the chance to show you the recent tasks or recent menu. So let me just swipe like this, boom. This is how it works on the Xiaomi, on the iPhone. Very same way. And on my S23 Ultra, the very same way. This visual representation I don't like, but you can achieve this one also on the S23 Ultra with using good luck home up, and at least this works for One UI 6. On the iPhone it's a bit more boring and even slower compared to the Galaxy, and on the Xiaomi it's quite quick. Now I'm gonna clear everything, boom, no more apps here. And on the iPhone, guys, there is no option, right? So even on the Pixel, when you go here to the left, you're able to just find a button to close it all. But you know, Apple and iPhone, they know better than you. So why should you close all of the applications? They will manage your RAM better than you. Let's open the folder on the HyperOS. Let's open the folder on the iOS and the folder on the S23 Ultra. And I would say that I was thinking that at least on the iPhone, the folder opening is slower, but it seems it's not. And I can also compare it with the One UI 6. It pretty much seems to be on par, and I can now compare the HyperOS with One UI 6. Now we have, of course, different behavior. The moment I open the folder here, on the HyperOS, everything goes away, and the center of your attention is now focused only on the folder. When I do this on the iPhone, it pretty much feels the same, although the blur is not sufficient to kind of cover all, and it still represents everything that you have there. See here, if I open this, everything goes away. But I can still see all the elements here on the iPhone, and if I do the same on the Samsung, I get a bit more like of the HyperOS. Everything goes away, folder just centered, and you only see what you have in the folder. First things first, there is a setting under display brightness called Advanced Textures. Adds rendering effects like blurring across the system to provide an enhanced visual experience. So this is enabled by me on the HyperOS. And now I want to show you what is going to happen when I open a system application. Now pay attention to the settings, pay attention to the icon. Opening the settings icon, going outside, boom, it still rotates. Opening the settings on the iPhone, going outside, there is this slight twist. And if I'm to do the same on the Galaxy, yep, just this bouncy animation. But pay attention and see how beautiful this is implemented in HyperOS. And the same applies to some, not all, but some of the stock icons and stock apps, like Gallery. Opening the gallery, closing the gallery, and you see how the icon dances. This is really nice. Now let me just do this here. I'm gonna open photos, I'm gonna go outside, nothing fancy. And now I'm gonna open the gallery on the One UI 6 and go outside again. Nothing fancy here. Now I thought that this works for more system icons and applications on the HyperOS. Let me share, for example, I'm opening the theme store, I'm going outside, nothing. I'm opening the default music app, going outside, nothing. I'm opening Mi Home. Okay, Mi Home technically is not part of the HyperOS. But I was thinking that I can get this on more apps, like say security. Security, go outside, nothing, right? Let's say notes, going outside, nothing. So it seemed that they kind of implemented just for several icons, and I like the concept. But now we're here, and I'm gonna open the first folder, and I'm gonna show what happens when I open some of my applications. So first thing I wanna do is let's open Telegram. So this is the opening animation, boom. Going outside, open, outside. Opening on the iPhone, this is what you get. Pay attention, every time I open an application, guys, we have the whole background zooming in and out, which is really immersive, and I really like it. And what happens on the Galaxy, opening it, okay, yep, open it. When I close it, guys, I'm returned directly to the home screen. Pay attention, on the iPhone, when I go outside, I'm still left where I've started, on the folder, and the same behavior is also in HyperOS. Now let's continue with some other applications. Let me open, for example, X, opening X here, all right, opening X here, and opening X here. When I exit an app, I would prefer to also be left where I started, like in those phones, so maybe something can still change it, but let me show one more time. Opening X here, and X here. So the animations are implemented very, very nicely in all of the phones, and honestly, One UI 6 was, if not a great leap, at least they really improved a lot based on the animations in One UI 5.1. But now let me show you something that I believe is important. There are all these questions about nonlinear animations and the way Samsung implemented it, or even if Samsung had them. The nonlinear animation should technically allow you to perform an action and animation and then trigger another one before the first one is over, so that you're not running them in a sequence, right? But rather, you run multiple animations almost in parallel. Let me show you guys, Samsung went a long way. And I do believe that they really polished One UI 6, because this was not so possible to be done on One UI 5. And the moment, guys, you had to click here and just try to go in the recent menu or interrupt it, you would not be able to do so. You had to wait the first animation. Technically still, I believe that the iOS is king. See here, it's just so beautiful, and with all this jumping in around, and I think it's really very fast. And HyperOS, guys, see. Also, I mean, HyperOS and I think the Harmony OS from Huawei, they're really champs. in terms of animation. So probably like the best Android animations we have in China phones, and sadly not in Samsung. And I hope that they're going to be able to even further improve this in the next versions. Let me just open the settings and show you guys what happens here. So settings on the iPhone, okay. And the same here on the HyperOS. And I can tell you guys, the HyperOS of the Xiaomi 14 Pro is almost as smooth as the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And technically, I have to lie if I say that the Galaxy isn't smooth. The problem with the Galaxy is not that it's not so smooth. The problem for me is more about consistency, and I've said it so many times and I'll keep saying it. It's like I'm doing this animation 100 times and maybe 90 times it's going to be flawless and perfect, but then there's going to be 10 times that this animation will stutter or the whole interface in phone will stutter, and there's not a problem with the animation themselves but rather with the execution. This is why I say it's with consistency. iPhone 15 Pro Max and Samsung. Okay, now of course I have on the Samsung something called the Flex UI, so probably watch this in one of my videos somewhere else. This is very nice. What happens if I hold it here and click? I'm gonna get this menu. What happens if I just click on the bar here, guys? See, nothing happens. This is why we love Android, right? So many options on Android. Sadly, iOS will not let you customize all of those things. They have to decide it for you. And I like really the implementation here in the HyperOS, but I love the implementation on my One UI 6 because here, guys, not only the colors, forget about the colors, but we have the sound assistant from Goodlock and we can do whatever we want with this menu. Let's test something else. The widgets. Well, widgets are broken still in the One UI 6, and yes, I know it's a table version. So weather widget here, weather widget here, and weather widget here. Oh, nice. We just have perfect weather. That's the perfect weather for me to go outside and do camera tests. Going outside, very nice animation on the HyperOS outside. Very nice animation on the iOS iPhone 15 Pro Max, and going outside, yes, I know it feels broken, right? This doesn't bother me so much, but Samsung should have fixed it for the One UI 6. One more time on the HyperOS and one more time here on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now let me show you something that I believe it's cool. I can do like this and rotate the home screen of my Galaxy, all right? And I don't think that you can do this on the iPhone. I know that you can do this on the iPad, and right now I also don't have a way to do this on the HyperOS. One last thing I want to show you in this video is the activation of the dark mode. So let's do this. HyperOS, all right, iOS on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the dark mode on the Samsung Galaxy S23. Now, pay attention to something, guys. The dark mode on the iOS and on the One UI is actually not so dark. And if I go back to the settings, you see what I mean. It's actually a lot of grays are here. Same on the iPhone. But when I go on the settings menu for the HyperOS, we can see it's totally dark, and I really love this one. Well, Android still have a lot of options. You can customize this, I guess, but this is the stock behavior. What happens if I go in the dark mode and access my quick settings? This is pretty much what we see, and this is pretty much what we have. And guys, I really hope that these videos are helpful. So if you want to make some choices or just check how like these premium top of the line phones from Xiaomi, Apple and Samsung work, that at least that's beneficial for you. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to support the channel. VST over, and bye.